Well, good day to you. It is January the 29th. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. My name is Gary Willing, and as always, I want to welcome you to Search for Signs. And as always, I just want to point out for those people who are hearing this information and haven't done it yet, whether you're hearing it for the first time or you've heard these videos before, that it's always good to research this for yourself. If you check out some of the links, such as the Share International site, you can get a lot of really good background information about Maitreya, or some of the other websites talk about the miracle signs or something like that, or UFOs and how it's connected to this information in some way. So hopefully you'll look into it. They're all free and they're there for you whenever you want to do it. If you want to come back and join the discussion, you're always welcome to do that by letting me know what you think by posting a comment. You can ask a question by posting your question in the comment section, and then I'll do my best to try to answer it in the next video like I'm about to do in this one. Or if you're feeling rather saucy, email me at searchforsigns@mail.com. All right. Now, this person asked, and also too, before I get into the question and the comment, I really want to appreciate those people who do take the time to do this. And it does help me to put these videos up. So keep the questions coming, keep the comments coming. And if your comments relate to this information in some way where we can talk about it and learn more about this information, I also just address comments and not so much answering questions. But this person asked, "Hi Gary, love your work. I have been listening for a long time, am sick at the moment. What is the best way to use the hand of Maitreya?" Well, I'm sorry you're sick at the moment. Hopefully it's nothing serious. And it's just a passing fad, as they say. But if it is something serious, I really hope that by using the hand of Maitreya, or you even said you use the Tlacote Creme and the tablets, that does help too. But anyway, what is the hand of Maitreya that this person is talking about? The hand of Maitreya is, I think, in a nutshell, when it comes to the many miracle signs that have been going on around the world in all walks of life for several decades now, is the best kept secret out of all of them. Most people don't even know anything about the hand of Maitreya. Most people know about UFOs perhaps, or they've heard about the healing waters of Tlacote, Mexico, which is the Creme that you were talking about. Other people have seen crosses of light, perhaps, or have had angel visitations where they've been healed or had this visitation of an angel and said something wonderful to them and inspiring to them and then disappeared and so forth. These things have been going on for decades. But if you were to really narrow it down to what is the least popular of all the miracles, it's definitely the hand of Maitreya. But I think it's the most extraordinary miracle, actually. And it really is meant for those people who have even just a little bit of conviction about this information, because you wouldn't think to even use this if you didn't believe it on some level. So it's a gift to those people who have already heard this information. And it's also a gift for those people who perhaps just a little bit believe this information. Because according to Maitreya himself, this image of his handprint, by just looking at it, he says is the closest he can get to any one of us until he's out and known for who he is in the world. And he's also said to the effect of, his help is there. All you have to do is ask. So if you look at this image of the handprint of Maitreya and ask him for his help, it's the best way to ask him for help. And it creates a mind-to-mind connection between you and Maitreya to where it's easier for him to hear what you have to ask him. It's quite extraordinary. But the background story about the handprint of Maitreya, it's extraordinary in a couple ways, okay? But the background of it goes, there was a woman who lived in Barcelona, Spain. And I don't know if it's been 20 years ago, but it's probably getting pretty close if it isn't. She knew a little bit about this information, but she knew about it through her son, who was very active in the Share International groups in Europe. Anyway, she lived by herself in this apartment in Barcelona, Spain. And one day she had some cleaners that come in, I guess a couple times a month or whatever, and clean her apartment. And they cleaned their apartment and then they left. And then a day or two later, she noticed that there was a handprint, as clear as day, on the mirror in her bathroom, and it was a handprint of a man. So she had a smaller hand than this, so it wasn't her handprint. It was much larger than that. So she just thought that it happened to be one of the people there that were cleaning the apartment that day. So she wiped it off. Well, the next day it came back and looked exactly the same. And she thought enough about, and she knew enough about this information to at least reach out to somebody who she thought might know more about it, which was her son. So she called her son. Her son came over and took a photo of it. They sent the photo to Benjamin Creme, and Ben asked Maitreya, and Maitreya says, yes, that's his image of his handprint. And he kindly asked the woman not to wipe it off again because he would not be able to put it back on there. So she got one mulligan. There wouldn't be two. So anyway, so she didn't wipe it off. Now, Ben went on, and you can read more about it on the Share International site, and you can even get the image that of the handprint of Maitreya off of the Share International site. Now, it's extraordinary because it creates this connection between you and Maitreya to where he can hear better what you were asking him. That's quite extraordinary in and of itself. But the other part that's really extraordinary is you don't have to go to Barcelona to see it. You can just look at an image of it online and get the same quality of connection with Maitreya that you would if you were standing in front of the actual mirror with that has the handprint on it. So all the other miracles, you have to actually physically be in front of it. So the healing waters, you don't get healed by looking at an image of the Tlacote water. You know, the crosses of light that I've seen in the church in Knoxville, Tennessee, that appeared in homes all over the world, an image of it doesn't do it. You have to physically be in front of it. This is so extraordinary that you don't even have to travel there. It's free. You just go to the Share International site. There's a link right there of the hand of Maitreya. Quite extraordinary. The best way to use it is just to look at it and ask Maitreya for help. And if you have just a little bit of conviction about this information, it will create enough a connection with you and Maitreya where it's easier for him to try to help you. So I definitely recommend using it. I've used it myself. And I wanted to share 3 stories that I've mentioned before, and they are worth repeating when it comes to this miracle and how it works. Because the help that Maitreya gives you might not be exactly where you think it's coming from. So listen to these stories from that standpoint too. But the first story was my own, is in 2009, I met my wife online. She's from the Philippines. I traveled to the Philippines to see her, and when I got back, I agreed to marry her and went through the whole process of the visas and getting her and her daughter here. Quite expensive then as it is now. I had 2 waiting jobs, and I also took on a job cleaning a building after those waiting jobs so I could afford to bring them here. And I was working from sunup past sundown all the way up to like after midnight, and I was doing that for months. And I was able to, I didn't have a day off. I was working all the time, and it was starting to kind of grate on me, but I continued to do it because I love my wife and I wanted to keep, I wanted to bring him here. So in December of 2009, the building that I cleaned, that I had been cleaning for months, in this one side of it, there was starting to get this. Every time I would go in there, there was more and more trash. I don't know where this trash was coming from, but it was just more and more trash. And the trash was really heavy. And I used to have to go down and dump the trash and come back up, and I'd have to go back up, 3 flights of stairs and then dump it back down again and go back up again. It was awful. And it kept me there just long enough to where I was getting home much later. I was starting to get more burned out, but I kept at it. And this went on for a month or so. And finally, it just kind of hit me. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. This is just really getting to me. And I remember looking at this image of the hand of Maitreya, and I'd used it, and I had asked Maitreya for help, and I never got anything really specific like this time that I recognized. Maybe I did get help that I didn't pick up on. But anyway, so I asked Maitreya all I did was I was kind of more venting than asking. And I said, is there anybody out there that can just help me with the trash on that side of the building? That's all I asked. I didn't ask for the building to be totally clean when I walk in the door. I just asked for that side of the building. And I want to say it was the next week, but I'm not for sure the time frame. It might have been the week after that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, I came in just like I normally did that night after waiting tables, and I was dead tired and exhausted. And I was cleaning the building like I normally do, and I get all the way up there, and I'm about to open the door to that side of the building, and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's going to be more trash. It's going to be awful. It's going to be this, that, and the other. Anyway, as I was cleaning that side of the room, and I was that side of the building and dusting and all that kind of stuff, I looked and there was no trash in any of the trash cans. And none of this extra trash. And this extra trash were manuals for runways in Georgia because it was on, this building was actually part of the DOT that handled airports in Georgia. So, and it was secure, so you couldn't just walk in there. So some random person just couldn't walk in there because this building was right on the airport. So it was pretty secure, but it wasn't super max secure, but it was pretty secure. Anyway, I just, like I said, and then there was just no trash in this building that day. And this was on Monday night, and I was like, oh, thank God, right? And I was able to get home, and I jumped into bed, and I was like, oh, right, I get now I can get like 20 minutes extra of sleep. And that was value to me, right? The next day I woke up, went to job 1, went to job 2, went to go clean the building again. I opened the door again, and I'm thinking, oh my God, the trash is going to be there, and this time there's no trash again. I'm like, oh, maybe they're out of town or something. I didn't think much of it, and I did not connect the dots between no trash and me asking the hand of Maitreya, or Maitreya through the hand of Maitreya for help. Did not connect the dots in this way. And I just cleaned the building, went home, and I was like, oh, that's so nice not having trash, right? The next day again, opening the door, my cynicism came out again. Oh my God, it's going to be really bad, right? No trash. Okay. Right? And then Thursday came around, no trash. Friday finally came around, no trash. And I'm like, oh, that was nice. Now, I knew it wasn't going to last forever, and I still wasn't thinking that it had anything to do with Maitreya. Got on with my life, got me over the hump. It was probably 2 months after that. I was up there cleaning that side of the building again, like I normally did. And this woman comes out of that side of the building, and she was the one that headed up. She was the manager of the building that had that side of the building that had all the trash. And as she's coming out, she looked at me. She goes, Gary, don't close the door because it will lock on me. I just have to use a restroom. And then she said, because she left her keys or something on her desk. I said, no problem. And she goes, make sure you let your associate know. I'm like, my associate? What are you talking about? And she goes, the guy that helps you out from time to time. I said, there's a guy that helps me out? I said, when? And I mentioned the week that I was, the week and a half that I was in the Philippines in October. And she goes, no, that was when you were in the Philippines. She goes, this was just a few months ago in December. There was somebody that was helping you. I said, there was? I said, what did he do? And she goes, and now this time I'm starting to think maybe it was Maitreya. And she goes, he just came in. He was very nice and polite, and he got the trash and left. And she goes, Gary, there really was somebody here that helped you. And I said, I get it, Carol, but I don't have anybody helping me, right? And I said, what did he look like? And she said, he was tall. He was African American, nice looking guy, kind of older, very pleasant, very polite, quiet, and that was it. And I said, what did he do? She goes, he just got the trash and left from what I saw. And she goes, you don't know this guy? And she's freaking out now at this point because it's a secure building. And I was like, it's okay, Carol. And I can't remember how I diffused the situation. I didn't go into this story or anything like that. I just kind of diffused it. And that was it. And then I asked Benjamin Creme about it that summer, and I said, did he help me clean the building? And he goes, he didn't help you clean the building. He just got the trash for you. That's what he said. Anyway, so the second part of that story is just as extraordinary when it comes to the hand of Maitreya. That woman, I knew her, but as time went on, I forgot her name. And from the time that I stopped cleaning the building, that building to the time that I started putting these videos up was almost 8 years. And I forgot her name. And I wanted to tell this story on my YouTube channel. And so I could not remember her name. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, what is her name? What is her name? And I went with A, started with B, went to C. I could not think of any names that fit her. So finally, I look at this image of the hand of Maitreya, and I asked Maitreya again. I said, is there any way that you can help me with remembering this woman's name? Anyway, so I had switched jobs. I stopped waiting tables, and I was doing this other job. And I was in a part of Atlanta far away from this building that I had seen this lady. The next day, she walks into where I work. And I couldn't believe it. I absolutely... I leaned against the counter because it was just like somebody hit me right in the heart when I saw this. I was like, this can't be true. And I yelled out to this woman. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, what is your name? And then she didn't recognize me at first. And then I said, I remember her from the building. And she goes, my name is Carol. And then the next night I could not wait to put that video up, you know, and talk about this. It was extraordinary because I didn't see Maitreya. I had asked Maitreya for help. I didn't see him. He didn't come there to, you know, in any way in front of me. He went at a different time when I wasn't even there. And somebody who doesn't know anything about this information, as far as I know, saw him. And then what's also extraordinary is I asked for help again about helping me remember this woman's name, and this woman comes walking into where I work. It was extraordinary. Now, the other story I was going to tell you didn't have anything to do with me, but when Ben was talking about how to use Maitreya, had to ask Maitreya for help through the hand of Maitreya, through the hand, he always said to be specific. And when he was talking about this one story to kind of explain how to be specific, and if you remember when I just said about me asking Maitreya to just help with the, you know, I just needed help with the trash while I was being specific, so he just helped me with the trash. I should have asked for him to clean the whole building. I'm kidding. But he was talking about this woman who was a part of the Share International group somewhere, who was going through some financial difficulty. And she asked Ben, she goes, is it okay if I ask Maitreya through the hand of Maitreya for financial help? And he just said to her, he didn't say no, he just said, be specific. So she asked the hand of Maitreya for $17,000, I think is what the number was. It was a specific amount. And not long after that, her estranged father called her out of the blue. And they had a conversation on the phone. They're talking about what's going on in their life since they had last spoke and all that kind of stuff. And toward the end of the conversation, he says, out of the blue, he goes, do you need any help from me? And she says, well, actually, Dad, I need $17,000. And he goes, okay. And he wrote her a check. So those are three examples of how the hand of Maitreya can help if you just ask for help. And you have to have a bit of conviction. That's why I think it's not a very well-known miracle, because most people don't know about Maitreya or even believe in that Maitreya is anything. And if you have just a little bit of conviction that there might be some truth to this, would be what would encourage anybody at that point to use the hand of Maitreya. But it's extraordinary. And if you're sick, use it, be specific, and help will come as best it possibly can. And it can come from different directions, man. You know, you just have to be open, as they would say, to his help. You know, like I said, had Carol not said anything to me, I would have never known that he had helped me, and I would have forgotten all about it and never thought about it. But it was such a relief to just have that trash out of that building. You know, that I can't explain it, but it was definitely help. And the other times that I've asked for help, he's helped through the hand of Maitreya. So I definitely encourage everyone to do it. It's free for everyone. You don't have to let anybody know you're doing it. You don't have to pay anything for it. There's no subscription fee for it. It's free. When we see these masters out open in the world, their wisdom, their love, their guidance will be free for everyone. Not just for a specific group, not just for those with money to be able to pay for it, free. And so I love you guys. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for the question. I look forward to putting up videos in the future. Have a wonderful day. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.